$5.2 trillion. That's the estimated value of the attention economy, a massive machine built to hijack your dopamine receptors before you can even check your bank balance. It's not a coincidence you're broke, it's a consensus. I'm Alex. This is Wealthonomics, where we expose the financial system the wealthy don't want you to understand. Last week, we exposed how your high salary is often just a high-interest leash. Today, we go inside the brain to see why you can't stop pulling it. By the end of this video, you will understand the invisible architecture of your own impulses and how to reclaim your capital. Before the 1920s, people bought what they needed. Then came Edward Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud. He realized you could sell products by linking them to unconscious desires. He shifted the masses from a needs culture to a desires culture. This wasn't just marketing, it was social engineering. Institutions like the Committee on Public Information realized that a population that saves is a population that is independent. A population that spends is a population that is manageable. They turned your identity into a commodity, and they've been refining the algorithm ever since. Today, this engineering is powered by companies like Axiom and Epsilon, which hold thousands of data points on every adult in the developed world. They know your credit limit, your recent breakup, and your 2 a.m. insecurities. They don't just show you an ad, they trigger a vulnerability. Retailers like Amazon and Target use predictive analytics to know you're going to buy something before you do. The system is designed to remove friction, the momentary pause where logic resides, and replace it with a seamless, painless extraction of your future wealth. Every notification, every limited time offer, and every only 2 left tag is a calculated strike on your biology. When you see a potential reward, your brain releases dopamine. But here's what your financial advisor will never tell you: dopamine isn't about pleasure, it's about the anticipation of pleasure. The high happens when you click buy, not when the package arrives. By the time the item is at your door, the dopamine has crashed, leaving you in a deficit. To fix the feeling, you buy again. You aren't shopping for goods, you're shopping for a chemical hit. In the 1990s, you had to count physical cash. That pain of paying was a natural circuit breaker. Today, Apple Pay, Google Wallet, and one-click ordering have erased that pain entirely. The part they deliberately don't teach in school is that the more convenient a payment method is, the more likely you are to overspend. Studies show people spend up to 100% more when using digital wallets compared to cash. When money is just a biometric thumbprint, it ceases to feel real. It becomes an abstraction, making it nearly impossible for your brain to register the loss of capital. Enter, buy now, pay later, services like Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. They've rebranded debt as a payment plan. They target the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning, and bypass it by breaking a large, painful number into 4 small ones. Here's the thing that keeps middle-class families trapped generation after generation: they focus on the monthly payment instead of the total cost. By the time you realize you've overextended, you're already paying the late fee tax, which is essentially high-interest credit masked in a pastel-colored app interface. Why do we buy things we don't need? Thorstein Veblen called it conspicuous consumption. In the luxury world, demand actually increases as the price goes up. This is the Veblen Effect. It's a psychological trick where high prices signal status and quality. The elite use this to create barriers to entry, but the middle class uses it to mimic the elite. You are being sold a version of wealth that actually prevents you from ever attaining it. Every designer logo you wear is a billboard for your own financial leakage. Everything I just told you is accurate. But there's a dimension to this story that almost no financial content creator covers: the decision fatigue strategy. The system deliberately overwhelms you with choices, thousands of brands, colors, and features, because an exhausted brain is a compliant one. When your cognitive load is maxed out by a 10-hour workday and endless digital noise, your System 2 logical brain shuts down. This is the exact moment the retail machine strikes. They aren't just taking your money, they are waiting for you to be too tired to say no. Have you ever bought a new pair of shoes, then realized your old jeans look terrible with them, so you buy new jeans, then a new belt? This is the Diderot Effect. One purchase creates a spiral of consumption to maintain a cohesive identity. The financial system loves this because it turns a single transaction into a multi-year drain. Retailers like IKEA design their floor plan specifically to trigger this spiral. You went in for a lamp, you left with a lifestyle. Your identity is the most expensive thing you will ever own. No matter how much you buy, you eventually return to a baseline level of happiness. This is hedonic adaptation. The $1,200 phone feels like a miracle for 3 days, then it's just a glass slab. The system relies on you forgetting this. It sells you the next version as the one that will finally satisfy you. But here's another pattern interrupt: the wealthy don't find satisfaction in the item, they find it in the ownership of the asset that produced the item. While you're chasing the next version, they're owning the shares of the company making it. Drop, culture and seasonal collections are artificial scarcity mechanisms designed to bypass your logical evaluation of value. When items are limited, your brain perceives them as more valuable, triggering a loss aversion response. You aren't buying because you want the item, you're buying because you're afraid of losing the opportunity to own it. This is high-stakes psychological warfare. Major brands like Supreme and Rolex have perfected this, turning products into speculative assets that distract you from real wealth-building vehicles like index funds or real estate. We don't compare ourselves to the billionaires, we compare ourselves to our neighbors. This is relative deprivation. If your peer group buys a Tesla, your brain registers your Toyota as a failure. This social comparison tax is the most effective wealth stripper in history. It forces you to spend your surplus capital on depreciating assets just to stay at the standard level of your social circle. By the time you reach 50, you have a garage full of status and a bank account full of regret. The goal isn't to be rich, it's to look rich. So how do you fight back? You need a cognitive circuit breaker. The most effective strategy is the 72-hour rule: never purchase a non-essential item over $100 without waiting 3 full days. This allows the dopamine to clear and your logical prefrontal cortex to re-engage. Additionally, audit your digital environment. Unsubscribe from retail emails and delete shopping apps. If the friction is gone, you must manually put it back. You have to make it hard for the system to take your money, because they've made it dangerously easy. The ultimate shift is moving from a consumer mindset to an owner mindset. Every time you feel the urge to buy a product, ask yourself, would I rather own the product, or the company that makes it? If you spent $1,000 on Apple products every year for the last decade, you'd have a drawer full of e-waste. If you'd bought $1,000 of Apple stock instead, you'd have a fortune. The system is designed to keep you on the wrong side of that equation. Reclaiming your wealth starts with refusing to fund someone else's empire at the expense of your own. 3 things to take from today. First, your spending isn't a lack of discipline, it's the result of a multi-billion-dollar psychological assault. Second, convenience is a hidden tax on your future wealth. Third, status is a depreciating asset that keeps you in a cubicle. Remember that $5.2 trillion from the start. Here's what that actually means: it's the price the world pays for the illusion of satisfaction. Next on Wealthonomics, how banks keep you broke forever. If this changed how you see the system, subscribe. The next one goes deeper.